Man, what a blessing. It is a blessing to be blessed and to be a blessing. This episode with Pastor Aaron Levy is one that I don't think you should miss. I think it may be the first in a multi-episode podcast. I mean, I don't think we had enough time to cover what needed to be covered. I truly enjoy the conversation every time I get to talk to Pastor Aaron. But he was dropping some gems here, and if you watch the video, you'll see me taking notes. You'll see me clicking stuff on my computer to make sure that I am taking in all the information. He's a girl dad like I am, but a leader and a leader of men, and shared some amazing information. I think that is going to be super helpful for anybody who's listening. And I'm going to look to try to get him back. You guys hear him on the faith segment of the podcast, but getting him back in long form like this, I think I've got to get him back for at least 2 more episodes, because I felt like there was at least another 2 hours of conversation that needed to be had. So tune in, man. I'm glad you guys are listening, and here we go with the show.
Don't move. Keep it locked. You already know. You're listening to the Fit Fatherhood podcast. And we're having conversations with dope dads covering the 4 pillars of fatherhood. We call it the Fit Fatherhood formula: faith, family, finance, and fitness. That's right. These dads are setting the pace in business and fatherhood. This show isn't only about the outside success. We're getting down to who you are. Gentlemen, it's time to get fit. And now, let's get into the show.
All right. Welcome back to the Fit Fatherhood podcast, a podcast for fathers by fathers, where we talk about the 4 pillars of fatherhood, which are faith, family, finance, and fitness. And if you are a longtime listener, or if you've been listening at least for a couple of weeks now, you've had the privilege of hearing my next guest be kind of the anchor of the faith segment of the podcast. You know, I've been trying to do that kind of thing on my own, but I know that it's always better when you have an expert, or you have somebody that's a little more leaned into it, that can give you some more insight. And I had the privilege of being on his podcast and just hearing the stuff that he's been sharing on social media, being able to spend some time with him, come over his house and be involved. I think there's a lot to be gained from this conversation, not only for you guys, but for me, right? I'm selfishly trying to get a little drip in here myself. Well, my guest today is Aaron Levy. Aaron, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. Honored to be on your pod, man. Love what you're doing.
Let me back up. Pastor Aaron. Don't let me commonize you like you don't deserve that.
Aaron. Just Aaron is good. Aaron is good.
All right. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm pumped to be on here. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in faith. I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey of faith, and I'm just so honored that you want God honored in what you're doing and how you're pouring into fathers. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And when I use the term expert, what I mean is that you're a step ahead of where I am. And to me, that's an expert, right? Because taking that next step could be it could be the major difference, and we just don't know it, right? And so someone a step ahead of us could have the key that unlocks the door. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, you're nationally known and locally accepted situation, but like God may have given you the specific word that I need. And it's not that, you're expert in that way. Right. And that's not to take away from the fact that you do this. Like this is, you know what I mean? It is what you do. Like, I don't want you to be too humble here.
For sure. Yeah. So then I'll give you tips as long as you give me tips, because I'm about to do I think it's called the DECA challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a good runner. I'm not good at hitting the weights, as you could tell. But like when we're done with this pod, I'm gonna go out and run like 8 to 10 miles.
See, that's insane.
Yeah, but I'm trying. So like, I guess we got signed up to do this thing where it's like, you got to do 10 different like challenges. Mm-hmm. So I got signed up to do burpees, but like you got to jump forward as you do the burpees.
Okay.
So like I'm gonna need some tips, bro. I'm gonna need some, and then like I'm looking at all this stuff now on TikTok. Like you can get disqualified if you're not doing them correctly, and I'm not trying to let my brothers down.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't. So you definitely got to make sure you know the rules of the game.
For sure.
Uh, burpees. Listen, I am not a fan of burpees. Burpees are the one thing that I probably hate the most when it comes to fitness.
Yeah.
And it is one of the things that I absolutely will not program for myself. There's a lot of stuff I don't like that I'll put in there, but burpees is one of the ones where I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you gotta use your whole body.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's funny. So I went for a run this morning. I'm in a men's group, and one of our challenges for this month was to run a 5. At the beginning of the month, you run a 5K. At the end of
okay.
the month, you run another one, and it's like the winner is based on who's had the most progress. And I'm traditionally not a distance runner. I mean, 5K is not long, obviously, but it's longer than what I would normally do. Like I hit a mile and I'm good. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hit these weights now. So I ran one this morning and like right around 2 miles, and my calf, like I just felt like I strained my calf, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So I got two options now. I gotta stop right here and not complete it, or or I'm gonna limp through it. So I limped through it, man, and my calves are on fire right now. Like I got
Yeah.
up to go get some water a second ago. I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good at all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the stretching is everything. And that's where I needed accountability because like I'll go out and run, just come back and just continue my day. But then I'm paying for it on the back end.
Yeah.
So then like I'm not recognizing how tight my joints are, my hip flexors, et cetera, et cetera. So I recently asked my son-in-law, hey, I need accountability when it comes to stretching. Because stretching's boring for me. I feel like I'm not getting results. But the older I'm getting, stretching is the results.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like stretching for me is the workout to go out running because I enjoy running. If I go running 10 miles, I don't feel like I've worked out because I'm gaining so much mental clarity. I Running for me is like a soul detox. So like that's my time with God. That's my time with taking like complex like problems and like praying through them, talking through them. So I could take something complex and reduce it to a bullet point and take it on a run. So that's what I do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
see, it's functional for you. For me, it's like, yeah, I'm just running because I'm supposed to. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not getting nothing out of that but the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
you know what's funny though? Matt, who's also like the fitness part of this, he's a
Uh-huh.
competitive runner. And
Oh,
he sent out he has like a weekly newsletter, and he sent it out this morning. And he was talking about he ran a 2 miler just as a speed day, like 5.5 or 6 minute pace. I was like,
bruh.
yeah, nah, man, no way. Like, you can have it, brother.
Yeah, I've never done that. I think the fastest mile, I think I'm in the sixes, but I don't do that for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you guys can have it, man. I appreciate all your hard work and effort. And I guess if you guys run enough miles, there's like a trickle down effect by proximity, right? If I'm close enough to you guys, I get some of that cardiovascular effect, right? Like, yeah, that's how it works, right?
Oh my God, I wish,
I
because
will
then my
let
wife
you.
would be getting credit. But here's what's so dope, dude. Like, I've been wanting my wife to run with me for years. It's just
Mhm.
not her jam. But my oldest daughter is pregnant right now,
Okay.
and we've been going on runs. And my God, I'm talking about like some great daddy daughter time, man.
That's
And
awesome.
now I'm running already with my grandson. Like it just feels so right. So every time we go out running, we're just talking, we're out, and I don't care what pace we're running. I'm with my daughter,
Yeah.
right? And like during these times, I'm praying for my grandson while we're running. It's just been a beautiful time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool, actually, because you mentioned that your grandson's not here yet, but you're able
No,
to start the connection now, to start
yeah,
covering them now, to kind of build
yeah,
this build on the relationship you already have with your daughter, and then that it becomes like, oh man, me and dad was running, so now one of y'all is gonna have a stroller, pushing the stroller, running. Like it's just a thing
For
now that
sure.
continues. That's
Well,
super
yeah, man.
cool.
I got a house full of women, man. My wife. I got 3 girls at home, so a lot of times I go running to kind of like get away low key a little bit, just to like organize my thoughts and everything like that. So yeah, I can't wait for little man to be here, and I'm really hoping he's gonna be a runner.
He might not have a choice, right? Like I think just because of environment, like, you know, if we're gonna hang out with grandpa today, you're going for a run. That's just what it is.
For sure, for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
I do want to let's kind of go back, I guess, a little bit. So
Okay.
we met because of our daughters,
Yep.
and because of softball.
Yep.
So there's some running in there, not enough, but we met because of softball, and kind of interesting because I have tried to stay away from what you were doing when I met you. so
Okay.
So
Okay.
just as a background, so I worked at a high school for five years, and I was a athletic equipment attendant, which means I took care of all the athletic equipment and the fields. So
Hmm.
during baseball, softball season, I had to line, manicure, like do the infields, lay the chalk
Yeah.
for baseball field, softball field, varsity and JV twice, sometimes 3 times a week. So we're talking about like my whole day was on the fields. So we're at our daughter's softball game, and I try to stay away from the field work
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we need a parent to come do the field," and I just start looking the other way, like.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And I was doing that, and then I seen you out there, and it looked like you needed some help. So
Bro, I was struggling, bro. And it was crazy because it's like it's one of those long days where it's like my wife sent me a text, "Hey, I signed you up to help Faith's prep for softball." Now, mind you, I didn't grow up watching baseball or know what softball was or what field prep was. I love basketball and running. So I was like, this couldn't be too hard, right? And she was like, "Oh, I sent you an instructional video on field prep." I'm like, "Okay, for sure." But I didn't look at it because I'm like, why do I need to look at instructions?
yeah,
So I get there. Wait, why are we running water on the ground? What is this big net? Why are we? I'm putting lines down. Like, so, bro, I'm out there struggling. So I just do the only thing I know how to do. I grabbed a rake and I just started just raking, and that's when you came to help.
yeah. Look, I was like, man, I can't. And it's funny because if you go to enough of these games, and there's like multiple people out there, right? Like parents from
Yeah.
both sides, and there's a couple of them, and everybody's kind of like chipping in for whatever reason. I know for my team, the team that I was on that year, the parent participation was terrible. Like they didn't help with anything.
Bro, they were just sitting around with popcorn, just watching me, just assessing. And I'm just like, and I was low key scared, man, because like there was one game we went to where the umpire was like, hold up, hold on, hold on. And then he went and he looked at the mound. Oh, the mound is off. Who did the field prep? I did not want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they'll call you out. They'll
yeah.
call you out. Yeah, we had that's funny. We had a playoff game this past weekend for my youngest, and whoever lined the fields, the third base line went through the middle of the base. And he was like, "So I guess we're not calling foul balls on this side of the field." And he said it like to everyone. I'm like, "Oh man, hide your face." Like, like he's just out here shaming people.
For
But
sure.
But yeah, when I saw you out there by yourself, and I'm like, man, nobody else is gonna go out there. Like, I can't let this brother struggle like this. And I didn't have on I had on some regular shoes, because that's one of the things too. Was like, if you know you're gonna do field prep, you got to dress accordingly because you're gonna be
Yeah.
out there in the dirt and the chalk. And I
Yeah.
had on,
Yeah.
I don't even remember what shoes I had on, but they definitely wasn't field shoes.
For sure.
I was like, whatever, man. I'm gonna go out here and help this brother out because I can tell that this is not his thing. But that was it was necessary. It was one of those things where I had to get over myself because I personally didn't want to do it, but somebody needed help, and I was there, and I was able to provide the help, and we've built this relationship from that moment.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Much respect for that too.
Absolutely. So is Faith still playing? There's Faith that was playing, right?
Yeah, Faith is playing. She plays for her junior high, and then she
Nice.
plays City League. This most recent time she played in Chino,
Okay.
and she did pretty good. I think she does it more for like her best friends are doing it, so she's not locked in trying to like practice outside of practice.
Okay.
But I just love all of the like intangibles that it teaches our daughters about just resilience. It's not always your turn. Cheer for somebody else. Keep your head up when you strike out. Like all these life skills that
Yeah.
happen because Faith is a straight A student. So she's used to when she puts her mind to something, like I'm gonna be at the top.
Yeah.
So like for softball, she ended up getting most improved player. Now you know the most improved player probably started off as the most
Yeah.
trash player, right?
Right.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
so I remember this moment with my daughter. Um, it was the same week that she got most improved award, and the same week that she got honor roll.
Mm.
So I showed her two both certificates, and I said, "Hey, which one do you think I'm more proud of you for?" And she said honor roll. I said, "No, no, no, no. You've already locked that in. I'm proud that you got most improved because you signed up for something that you're not the best in and you persevered.
Hmm.
You don't always have to be the best, but you always got to give your best." So that's what I tell my daughters. And I'm trying to like drive their mindset that, like, hey, when you try to always be the best, it's like fool's gold because you're going to find that somebody else is always better, younger, stronger, faster, et cetera, et cetera. But you could always give your best. So I think softball is really helping Faith, who's kind of competitive like me, to recognize the value of being a team player, to know who you are when you strike out, to know who you are when you get a double or a triple. Like that dopamine hits, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's like having those conversations with my daughter. Softball has provided that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, I think it's easier maybe when you have daughters, than when you have sons. And I don't know, cause I only have daughters,
Okay.
but I say that because it's easier with us to like, because I have a daughter to pick the lesson because I know that part of it is me wanting her to learn from the game. And maybe just because I'm more retrospective and I'm more, more in tune
Okay.
with it. But I think sometimes when guys have sons, they're more thinking about the future in terms of the sport, right?
Okay. Okay.
Versus like what are the lessons that we're learning from the sport right now that we can grab a hold of and grow our child. They
Okay.
may be thinking like, okay, well, you need to have a great game because that's going to get you a college scholarship, and the college scholarship's going to
Okay.
get you to the NFL or NBA or whatever, right? There's I think to some degree a difference in thought process behind a girl or a daughter athlete and a son athlete. And I feel it a little bit with like some of my friends, because I have a friend that has he's got all boys, and and they go through some of the same struggles, but I don't hear the same lessons being taught, if that makes sense.
Because it's more focused on like win now,
Yeah,
step up now, get
right.
better
Because
now, lock in drills, but discipline. Yeah.
right, yeah. And which not that I don't have those same things, like not that I'm not talking about those, like lock in now, discipline now, win now, but I'm also very aware of she's going to be a professional in something else. So like what are the lessons
Okay.
that we can learn that makes us a better whatever that profession is, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a difference, and I think it maybe for some of the guys that are a little bit more cognizant of these things.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people see their kids play sports and they do well, and they're like, oh, he's gonna be in the NBA. Like little Jimmy got a jump shot, and little Jimmy's
Yeah.
jump shot is gonna take him to the league. But the
Yeah.
reality is there's a whole lot of lessons he could be learning along the way, because he's probably not going to make it to the league.
For sure. For sure. I would say I'm so sensitive to like I think about this every day. Man, prayerfully my daughters are gonna marry great men.
Hmm.
And I think right now I have an opportunity to display what a great man looks like. So how a great man encourages a wife when she's discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the car ride on the way home when Faith strikes out, or when the coach gets on her, or what have you. So it's like I have that at the top of my mindset in coaching conversations with my daughters. Like, I want to be the safest place for their failure.
Mm.
So I don't know, because I don't have sons, if that's the leading thought.
Mm-hmm.
But since I have daughters, and since I'm married, I don't look at it as like I have like a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. I look at it as I have adults in training.
Mm.
So being that I have adults in training, Lord, help me to parent age appropriate. So help me to picture Faith in this situation, riding home with her husband, and she just got fired. Those type
Mm.
of things. So my coaching conversations are preparing for life, not a RBI.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think it should be the same with sons. I don't have credibility to say that, because there's a whole other set of emotions that come out of
Mm-hmm.
like men with sons, because my best friend has 2 sons. So there's so much of more of a safe passion that you can give a young man that I can't give my daughters. I remember when Eileen, my oldest daughter who's pregnant now, she was in high school and she was coming downstairs and she changed the way that she did her makeup. And in our house, we're very sarcastic. We bag on each other. And I was like, yo, what'd you do to your makeup? You look crazy. That's wild,
Okay.
right? And she got teary-eyed.
Of course.
And we laugh at that now, me and Eileen. But it's like, in that formidable age, when she's trying to change her appearance to look beautiful, the man voice in her life rejected it.
Mm.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So it's like, I know that the way that I speak to my kids end up being their inner dialogue.
Right.
So I just try to take like ownership of like, I'm not afraid of having a hard, tough conversation, but I want to make sure they feel loved and challenged.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? And thinking about it, I think there should be some similarities whether there's son or daughter, right? And you mentioned there being like a safe passion that you can kind of give to a son. When you were talking about it, and you're like you want to be kind of the safe space. I think when it's sons, we're so focused on the world isn't going to be a safe space for us, or like no one's going to be nice to you, or no one's going to treat you. And so instead of us being that place where like we got to get them prepared and give them the tough love, like you strike out, like we don't give them the lesson. We tell them, you know, you striking out is not good enough and you got to do better. And like we give them all of the hard, right? And again, I don't have the credibility either. I don't have sons, but I've been a son and I'm still a son, you know what I mean? And I've gotten that from my dad, or even from my mom. Was like, yo, you gotta get it together, like you figure it out kind of
Yeah.
situation. Not, it wasn't like you know, here's the lesson. It wasn't as compassionate. And I was just curious. I was just thinking about it. So I don't know if it's just us, right? and we just soft, or if that is just you know, a girl dad thing, you know.
No, I get at my girls, right? And then I try to parent them for their personality. I know with Faith, I can look at her and I can say, "Hey, that really disappointed me," and I could tell that hit her soul.
Mm.
And like, right, Trinity, I could tell her something. She's like, "Man," right? So I think one of the ways that parents can like be more intentional in parenting, know that like if you have employees, you're not going to manage all your employees the same. That would be
Right.
foolish. So then like as our kid, you can't just have one parenting style. It's like, how do I bring the best out of Eileen? How do I bring the best out of Faith? How do I bring the best out of Trinity? And then the second step is like, for me, hey God, I don't know how to do that. You created these kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving me the opportunity to steward a great relationship as dad. will you show me how to do that with Trinity, with faith, Eileen? So I think I would encourage all fathers to be praying fathers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I get more results praying for my kids than talking to my kids.
Okay. Okay. How do you gauge that? How do you
Well,
because there's no let me give some context on why I'm asking.
okay,
It's
okay,
like, okay, so if I'm praying for my daughter, and then now am I sitting back and watching to see if the changes are happening, or am I praying for my daughter and looking for a way for me to behave? You get what I'm saying? Like, am I what
yeah.
is
Let me share it. Let me share it in a story. Remember I was talking about my oldest daughter Eileen. During that season, she came downstairs, makeup. Um, our relationship wasn't that good. Blended family. So um, Eileen is not my biological daughter, but that's my daughter,
mm,
right? Just given the context. So during that season, she was not doing good in school. We were finding out things she was doing that she shouldn't be doing. So she was in trouble, big trouble. As I was praying for Eileen, I believe God impressed on my heart, Aaron, you have no credibility to speak into her life because she doesn't trust you, because she doesn't trust men.
mm,
So, in the season where I wanted to correct Eileen, I felt like I was led by God to date Eileen.
okay.
So, I started taking Eileen to the mall. I started taking Eileen to coffee spots. And what we would do is people watch and just bag on people. Now, on the inside, who is this guy you was text messaging? Why is your grades like this? Why all this stuff that like was right here? Like I want to correct her on. But in that season of my life, God showed me the value of connection before correction. I would not have
Mm,
learned that lesson without prayer. So what I mean by that is, as I became a safe voice in Eileen's life through laughter, through quality time, I got more influence to speak into areas that she would try to hide from me.
and she's probably more open to share those areas too, like just in
Yes,
general.
yes. So COVID happened, and you know, me and Eileen started going on walks. So then I said, "Hey, let's just swap failure stories. I'll go first." And that's where the language came from. I want to be the safest place for my daughter's failure. It's because like if if we as fathers aren't transparent enough to share some of our failures,
Mm-hmm.
how are we creating an environment where failures can be shared? Now, there's a difference between transparency and vulnerability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Transparency, I could be transparent on this podcast, share things about my life that can't be used against me. Vulnerability is stuff you and I could talk about when we stop recording the podcast, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we could
Mm-hmm.
be transparent with our daughters, with our sons, and that creates an environment. You know what, Dad? Let me ask you a question, or let me share this, or how would you navigate this?
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's prayer gave me the patience and some tools on how I correct, not avoiding to correct. So to answer your question, the changes I started seeing started coming in question form from my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever our kids are asking us questions, oh, those are diving boards for like life-changing discussion.
Right.
Because now our kids have the courage to ask for wisdom when they're getting all this like peer pressure from lunch tables and social media. They gonna come to me. Oh, I better have enough time carved out to like make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that
That's
answers your question.
No, it definitely does. It definitely does. And kind of piggybacking off of what you just finished up with, one of the things that my dad told me, and I didn't, I say that I started this podcast because I was looking for fatherly advice and looking to have conversations with fathers. Not that my dad isn't a good dad, but he's stoic. He doesn't share a whole lot. But one of the things that he did tell me is, he's like, because I got sisters, and he's like, you got a daughter, you have daughters, and they grow up, they're going to ask you questions. He was like, the worst thing you can do is tell them to go ask their mom. He was like, even if you don't have the answer, he was like, figure it out. Like, or just take the time to have the conversation. And at the end of it, be like, you know what? Maybe we should go ask mom. She has a better idea of whatever it is. But he was like, as soon as you start saying, go ask mom or ask your mother, they just cut you out. He was like, and then that conversation never even starts. You never have an opportunity because there's no point in going to the middleman if they got to go to the source anyway. So that's one of the things that I learned is that, you know, when they have questions, even if I don't have the answers, they don't know, right? They don't have the answer
For
either. So
sure.
let's stumble through this together. And if we need to go get a resource, let's get a resource together.
For
Right.
sure. And I think the unintended consequence was like, go ask mom, go ask mom, go ask mom. When that young girl gets married, she's not going to ask her husband.
Yeah.
She's just going to take the lead because growing up, mom ran the place.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, a leader doesn't have to have all the answers,
right.
but a leader got to make decisions.
Yeah.
So then that leader has to be humble enough. Oh, I be making some stupid decisions. I make poor decisions, but that's where humility's tested to circle back. Yo, I missed that one. Yo, here's the play that we'll run now. And I think that helps us to be relatable. And I try to lead more from influence than authority. I have authority in my house where it's like, Faith, do this. But I don't have that authority with Eileen, who moved out. So, like, I'm in a season where it's like Eileen is married for 2 years. She moved out. And I have teenage daughters. So the tension in that, bro, is like, once our kids move out, they are in the driver's seat for how often we talk, how often we see each other, what holidays look like, et cetera, et cetera. And it's based on influence, not authority.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like Eileen, she's 30 years old. So if she has questions, have I created a safe enough environment for her to call Pops? Hey, I got this situation going on at work. Hey, I got this situation going on in my marriage. Hey, I got this situation going on. Am I invited to those parties? Well, it depends on what I'm doing when Eileen is 13, 14, 15.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you're the second person that's told me that. And it's funny, it's come from guys who have older daughters, the influence versus authority idea,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I think when we have younger children, we're authority, right? Because we are making decisions, saying yes or no, like we're in charge, right? It's more of an authoritative position just in general. But I think influence goes a lot longer, right? Like it lasts, it stands the test of time. Obviously, you have to continue to build your influence, right? Because even that can go away. But I think influence is like the bigger picture. It's the longer game, right? It's like, am I living in a way? Am I teaching in a way? Am I talking in a way that helps them to lean on me later on, right? Because
100.
right, because right now it's like, can I go outside? I gotta ask dad. He's gonna say yes or no. But in 10 years, it'd be like, man, should I go outside? Well, I remember dad was
That
like,
part.
dad
Can I
always
to
said,
should I?
yeah.
What you just shared was gold, because as our kids get older, our parental relationship, in my opinion, should be shifting.
Mm-hmm.
Authority is about title. Influence is about trust. So it's like, I have the authority for my daughters to be compliant. No, come in the house. Yeah, but what's going to happen as soon as they move out? They're not coming in the house.
Right.
They getting away from this house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not, I mean, listen, not that I needed to hear it again, but hearing it again and then being able to process it a second time is like, okay, because my oldest will be a teenager very, very soon. And the running joke around the house is that I'm cool dad. And my wife's like, she thinks you're so cool or whatever. And so we've kind of switched roles. So now I'm like good cop and she's bad cop, right? Like, mommy's always saying no, or mommy's always doing this. And like, even yesterday we played a little family game, and it's Mother's Day, right? So my oldest daughter wrote down the names of everybody, and she's like, best mom in the world, best sister in the world, daddy, coolest with a heart. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, cool dad still,
that feels good, man.
Yeah. But what I'm learning is like, she is looking at me a little differently now,
Okay.
right? Like when maybe even a couple years ago, it was like superhero dad can do anything, right?
Yeah.
But and it's still a little bit true, but it's different. Like superhero dad is like cool at everything. You know what I mean? Like the way daddy talks, the way daddy dresses, or I'll ask his opinion on what I'm wearing, not because I know I can't wear a certain thing, but like dad has an idea of whether these shoes are cool or not. You know what I mean? Like, and it's starting to kind of change a little bit in that way.
Bro, yesterday we were at the kitchen table in front of my family. My 13-year-old daughter asked me in front of everybody, "Hey, what was your most embarrassing moment in junior high?" Right? So I shared, like, so I skipped a grade. So like I was 4'11" as a freshman in high school. So
Okay.
I didn't have height, right? So I got bullied, and I had this kid when I was in sixth grade get behind me, pick me up, and you know those sewer, like those big circular metal things that you go underneath to the sewer. I
Uh-huh.
guess it was off. The guy picked me up and just threw me down in the sewer.
Oh wow.
So I share that. Over dinner, and Faith and Trinity are like, "Wait, what? He did what? You did what?" And they're just laughing at me or anything like that, right? And they're like, "Well, do you know the guy? Do you?" I said, "Yeah, he goes to our church."
Oh, wow.
so, so they're just sitting there like, wait. You didn't kick him out your church? You literally were. So it ended up being just like a cool conversation. But I have to have the ability to laugh at myself.
Hmm.
So yesterday, Faith goes on a bike ride. It's by them bikes. And she goes to a little sewer thing. I'll show you a picture of it. Took a picture of it. It said, "Hi, Dad, that was you." But what I think about from that story is there are going to be things that embarrass Faith.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to put in relational chips. So when she has those hard days, okay, she has somebody that'll fight for her, somebody that'll have her back, and somebody that's safe enough I can express those things with you. So
Right.
I think for my house is trying to create that culture of like, hey, that was a moment. That's not your life.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think environment is key. And I think and as leaders, right? You're the thermostat, not the thermometer, right? Like
Yeah.
you set the temperature, you set the tone, like you create the environment that everyone gets to exist in. And that level of vulnerability and transparency gives them the free reign to be able to say, you know what, I had a really tough day today. Somebody threw me
Yes.
in a it
Yes.
may not be a figurative, it may not be like literally somebody put
Yeah.
me into the sewer,
Yeah.
but like that's how I felt. And
Yep.
I can share that now and get your perspective. And I don't have to hide it, and I don't have to pretend it didn't happen.
Yep.
I can be open and honest and really get your guidance. And it allows you as a leader to lead,
For
right?
sure.
Right? It gives you the opportunity to do the thing that you want to do versus like pretending that it never happened.
And one of my like pain points is like people that are younger than us are losing the skills and the courage to have conversations,
Mm-hmm.
to look at somebody in the eyeballs and say like, "Hey, this is who I am. This is how I feel. Hey, what do you think about?" Like we just don't do that anymore because and I think COVID has a part to do with this, but also social media,
Yeah.
to where you don't have to know my name, you don't have to know where I'm from, but I can comment about your mom on a social media post.
Mm-hmm.
I can comment about what I disagree and just be vile about it because there's no quote unquote consequence to my comment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think conversations are so rich at a kitchen table. So I love what you said that you're doing with your family because there's so many skills that come from that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why the best way that God can love us is through conversations in his word. That's the heart behind me writing books, because I grew up in church and I knew church. I really didn't know Jesus.
Mm.
And I didn't know that, like, his love letters towards me could actually influence what I think about myself, what I think about others, what I think about my worldview, courage, all those different things. So it's like, now my passion, now that I'm in a space where I know God, how can I help people that are spiritually interested but don't really know their next step?
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit more, because
Yeah.
I mean, even the podcast, your podcast,
Yeah.
I really enjoy the concept, right? Because same thing. I grew up in church, was at church 4 to 7 days a week,
Yep.
depending
Yep.
on the week.
Yep.
And so I'm very aware. I've always been very aware of all of it, but like the relationship as a child, you don't, and it's different for everybody, but as a child that grew up in it, you don't always connect to it, right? Like
For sure.
the connection points were there, and I'm definitely more connected than maybe somebody who wasn't, right?
Yep.
And I had more opportunity to get connected. I had more opportunities to learn and go deeper, right? But I do know that there is a lot, right?
Yep.
Like the word of God, the Bible, the religion, whichever you assign yourself to, it's just big, right?
Yep.
And to formulate a relationship, that would be like me trying to have a relationship with my wife, and I just go, okay, here's my whole life story and all the
Yep.
life stories of all the people that have been around me and the time frame that I grew up in and the city and the town, and like, here, take all of that. Now let's have a relationship.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
may be able to pull some parts, but for the most part, she's going to be cloudy and confused.
Yeah.
And so what I like about your podcast and about the books as well is that you're taking these bigger concepts, and like you said, you do on your run, is you're able to kind of work them
Yep.
down to things that we can really grab a hold of, and like, okay, this is what it was about, and then I can take
Yep.
that and I can interpret it for what it means for me, for myself, and then move on with that. But I'll let you'll probably do a better job, not probably, you will do a better job of explaining what that is than I did.
Yeah. And thank you for that, man. I don't take that for granted. I would say I'm biblically trained now, but there were decades where I wasn't. It was a defining moment in my life. Um, it's me and my dad. She was my girlfriend then, my wife Erica. We've been married 18 years now. That my wife is my everything. But during that moment, we're rolling somewhere, and Erica asked us, me and my dad, "Hey, what's the difference between the Old and New Testament in the Bible?"
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm raised in church. My dad's a preacher. I was trying to be impressive to my girlfriend, but I knew nothing about the Bible. Decades in church, I knew
Mm-hmm.
nothing about the Bible. So I just gave some bogus answer, like, "Oh yeah, the Old Testament's this, the New Testament's that, blah, blah." And I remember my dad looking at me while he was driving, and he said, "Son, you know nothing about the Bible." And that there's sometimes where words just kind of like go down to your soul. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I received that because he was right. I knew nothing about the Bible, but it was kind of to your point, because I think in some religious contexts, it's just about the culture of what we do at church, not necessarily how do we apply that in everyday life.
Uh-huh.
So now that I'm biblically trained, whenever we look at scripture, it's called an oika method: observation, interpretation, correlation, application. There's a lot of preaching that's only focused on observation and interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cute. It's like, hey, this actually means this, and this cultural context was this, and this woman at the well was this. But then it's like, but how does that relate to what I'm struggling with?
Mm-hmm.
There's no correlation. And if there's no correlation, I can't apply that to my life. So there's a lot of preaching or a lot of teaching that has nothing to do with what season you're in as a dad with daughters,
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, right? So I think the whole thing about the Bible, it's meant for transformation, not just information. So my heart is thinking about myself 25 years ago when I'm in these church services and I'm just lost, fighting with my wife, don't know how to be a dad, trying to make more money at work. And I would hear these sermons. Man, that's a gifted dude because he's able to use the scripture and it means, oh, okay, that's tight. But I by Tuesday, I don't remember it.
Right.
Why? Because I felt like it had nothing to do with me. So firstly, I think we need to recognize every single page of the Bible is about Jesus and his love for us. That's the first thing. Like Jesus loves us unconditionally. So then for daily drip is devotional reading for insight and practice. I don't think people are depressed. Some are, but I think a lot of people are dehydrated. God, he says his word is living water. That's where drip comes from. You don't got to go deep. Just go daily. Just have a discipline to look at a few verses, but do that every day and watch how it change your life. So then I just want to be a friend next to you as you're committing that, hey, I'm going to do this daily. How should I start? Kind of like how I asked you about burpees. So like if I'm writing a book, what I'm sharing is like, hey, today you're going to be in John chapter 1. Here's some things that I learned, and let me set it up for you to go. Okay, now today's John chapter 2. But the whole thing behind it is, let's not read the whole book of John. Let's not try to figure out who Jesus is completely today. But today, what are you struggling with? If you could be honest about what problems you're trying to solve, and if we could be consistent in knowing that God has answers to that, I'm going to lean in. So then I'm just kind of trying to be there as a coach to kind of wean you off of me. The goal of Daily Drip is not that somebody stays with me for the rest of their life. No, it's a person that's like, I don't know how to read the Bible. Oh, cool. Proverbs is 31 chapters. It's 31 days in a month. Take one chapter a day. And in each chapter, let's reduce it to one word. Oh, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens when I talk to men. They're like, where do I start? Well, what do you need? Oh, I need wisdom. Oh, go to Proverbs. Proverbs is about the wisest man in the world, King Solomon, who had a palace with all these young men that he's training up to be these mighty warriors. So he takes them through manhood. So just read a chapter a day. Oh, there's a lot of cats that just don't know that.
Right. Yeah. I would say most don't know that. Right.
Yeah.
And most are looking for a solution, looking for maybe even some reprieve or an idea. And then what happens is people say, go to church, or they say, pray about it, or they'll say, you need God in your life. And they're like, okay, all right, cool. So I went to church and I heard the message, but he wasn't talking about what I was talking about. Like very similar to what you just said. He wasn't talking about what I was talking about. I read the Bible. Where do I read the Bible? Like, do I start, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Start at the beginning or like, because there's 66 books. That's a whole lot to read.
Yep.
Okay. So I tried that. That didn't work. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times as people of faith, we give these blanket answers to people who are looking for, not blankets. They're looking for like specifics. Like, just give me like, I don't need the full meal. Like you said, give me a drip. Yep. And that made, like, I got the taste for it now. And so I can do more. But I think we throw the whole thing at them too often.
Let me say from my story, where I see people struggle with church and with faith journey. I have this problem in my marriage, or I have this problem with my finances. I have this problem with my kids. And that problem gets us to go to church. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference between going to church and going to Jesus. Big difference that people haven't really. So I go to church, I'm listening to songs, I'm hearing a sermon, but what's weighing me down is what I'm going through.
Yeah. So
I think the big component that we don't talk about is, why do we go to church? Not just hearing. See, a lot of people just go to church for songs and sermons.
Right.
And that's why people leave the church. I wasn't getting quote unquote fed. I don't like the worship. I didn't like the preacher. But church is a community of people going the same way. So what I think a lot of people are missing, especially men, I don't have friends that are going the way I want to go.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. What changed my life wasn't just how dope my church was. It was the men that was in church and my humility to be like, yo, I need new homies. And see, a lot of times as men, we ain't trying to meet new men. I don't want nobody in my business. I was coming to church late on purpose and leaving early on purpose because I didn't want to talk to nobody.
Yes.
But it's in talking to other men and recognize, oh, you and your wife struggle too? Oh, you trying to, okay, yeah, I struggle with my daughter doing that too. So when we normalize failure in a smaller community setting, but then we start taking steps together, oh, that's what the army does. So that's what church is. So church on a weekly basis, that's just the huddle to prepare us for the week. What happens is people make the huddle the game. So I'm coming here and I'm getting this hour and 10 minutes to prepare my whole week. Oh no, of course that's why you don't like church, because your expectations of church is off. This is just a huddle. You can go to a football game. We huddling for 45 seconds. But where's the real action? Who you're on the field with. A lot of men don't go to the field with other people.
Yeah.
And then they blame the church. Oh, I went to the church. It didn't really feel. That was a huddle.
Yeah. You didn't break the huddle with nobody. You broke the huddle and still solo.
We go ready, break. And then everybody scatters to their own life and their own problems. And then once they can't figure it out, they come back to a huddle. How's you doing that last play? Well, I had nobody to pass the ball to. Humility.
Yeah. Oh man. Listen, me and my wife have been talking about this all week about me doing more, like connecting with because I got friends, I got friends that from high school, from elementary school that I still talk to and we still connect, but I don't hang out. I don't like, it's just, I got so much stuff going on. And I told her, like, I don't have time. Like, she was like, well, you hang out with your friends. I'm like, I don't have time. You see my life, you know my schedule.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, but you put all this other stuff on your schedule. Why don't you just put that on your schedule? And I was like, all right, listen, man, I know it's Mother's Day and all, but like, you don't have to take it easy. Like, this is not, you take a day off. All right. Like, I don't need you to do that to me right now, but it's real. It's like, you do have to have some community, and you do need to have, like you said, when you come to the huddle, but then break the huddle with each other. Right.
Yes.
And like, let's go do life together, because the reason we came to the huddle, because we knew we needed each other. Like, we all got in the huddle so we can get on the same page and we can run this play. And then we got the play and was like, all right, I'm gonna just go do what I do. Yep. and that obviously doesn't work and hasn't been working, right?
Yeah. So any resource that Daily Drip puts out is community focused. That's why the book has discussion questions. That's why the book has have the conversation sections, because I don't want to just give content. There are so many people that do content better than me. But what grew my life is content and community, because community is where we grow. Like, I have to have, the more we grow as leaders, my opinion, we have to have people that love us but aren't impressed by us. We have to have people that we could be ourselves in front of, but they'll still get at us.
Yeah.
Right? So people check on my marriage, check on my privacy, because I need it.
Yeah. And that's a part of the vulnerability you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Is like that level, because being vulnerable with your family is one thing, but being vulnerable to another person outside of that veil of trust, or not outside, but extending the veil of trust to another individual, you know what I mean? Like, or to another person that can hold you accountable, that is it doesn't look at you like Superman, you know what I mean? Like, they know they know, hey, look, there's a whole lot of kryptonite out there. You need me to support you. Like, we can be the Avengers. You don't have to be Superman by yourself. Like, we can
Yeah.
work together.
And I so bad want to be a superhero, but I know it's not realistic.
Right.
Man, I want to be a hero to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a hero to my daughters. Like, I want to be a hero as a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that could be intoxicating
Mm-hmm.
and overwhelming. And what do I do with those feelings of being overwhelmed? I have to have men around me that I can share that with. Now,
Yeah.
I don't say we start off being vulnerable, by no means. Don't you just go out sharing your business with people. But I got people in my life that has been over decades, like you said. So just starting to lean more into the relationships we do have instead of just like having like these surface new relationships.
Right.
In my opinion, is like it should be rooted in values. We're
Mm-hmm.
going the same way. This is how we want to treat our kids. This is how we want to treat our spouse. This is how we want to treat God, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, look, I feel like we could probably talk forever.
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely should come back for a round 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I feel like this conversation is something that can go on forever, and I think there's a whole lot that is still on the table that we need to and could be talking about. I think the conversation is just kind of naturally flowing, and I'm enjoying it too much. So I know that I gotta put a hold on it. But before before I do, because I know understand how listening to podcasts go, right? Like, you don't have a whole lot of time, and a 3-hour podcast would be like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish that. So,
For sure.
so
For sure.
couple things.
Yeah.
One, if and this is before I get the normal questions, right? Normally I would ask you, if guys are looking to find you, how would they do that? But before we get to that, because that's
Okay.
super important.
Okay.
If you had a message that you wanted to give every father, if we were blessed enough to get everybody to tune in at this very moment, every dad is listening, what is it that you want them to hear?
God has entrusted you with his precious children. What an honor. And you're chosen, and you can do this, but you can't do this without God, is my opinion. So I ask God every day, God, help me to parent age appropriate. I want to be first to the table, but also help me to be the safest place for my kids' failure. Because I think that creates culture that when our kids become adults, the relationship is still intact.
I love that. I love that because
Yep.
it's a long term. It's short term and specific, but it also covers the entirety of your relationship with them.
Yep.
Okay, all right. This might be an easier task because you still got the authority and the influence. If you had a message that you wanted to give your daughters and they were listening right now because you said, "Hey, you're gonna listen right now. This is what we're listening to," or you get them in the car and they can't get out. What do
Yeah.
you want them to hear?
Eileen, Faith, and Trinity, you guys are so beautiful. Thank you for letting me be me. Um, and I just want all three of you to know um, no matter what happens in life, I'm here. I'm always here. I don't care what you do, I'm always here. As long as you know that, we Gucci.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, guys, you guys will be hearing or have been, if you've been listening to the podcast, you're hearing Aaron every week. But if guys are wanting to get more of you, all right, they want to
Yeah.
consume more of your content, find out more about you, maybe even just reach out and say, hey, thank you for what you've already done. What would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, I think the best if you are blessed by any content that I share, then I would encourage you to get either one of my devotionals. One is Proverbs 31 Daily Drips of Wisdom. The second one that just released is for John 21 Daily Drips of Dialogue. I take my heart and years of study and put it into these books. So that I think that's the easiest way. Both of the devotionals are on Amazon, just under my name, Aaron Levy, and everything that I do is under Daily Drip. So you can always follow dailydrip.faith on Instagram. The podcast on YouTube is dailydrip.faith, or anywhere else that you get podcasts. It's every Monday at 6 in the morning. And then I'm a girl dad and I'm a husband and I just love being goofy. So like I'm on social media, Aaron Levy. It's all underscore. That's who I am. And I'm a pastor at Patria Church. We used to be called Abundant Living Family Church. We just changed our name last year to Patria. Patria just means family in Greek. So that's where I serve. I've been a part of that church for 15 years. Would love to have you.
Awesome. Awesome. So you guys heard all that. It'll also be in the show notes. If you miss it in the show notes, check the host profile. Aaron has a profile there. I am super, super appreciative for you taking the time to come and sit down with us. I know you got a 10-mile run that is calling your name. You can have all 10 miles to yourself. I don't want any of them. But I really appreciate you taking the time today and taking the time that you take each week to share with us, to enrich us, to uplift us, to encourage us. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I believe in what you're doing. Best is yet to come.
Thank you. Thank you. All right,
All right,
brother.
bro.
Have a good one.
Peace. You too.
All right. You just tuned into another episode of the Fit Fatherhood podcast. And I sincerely hope that you walk away from this episode with something that you can use in your fatherhood journey. If you aren't already, please make sure you go like, subscribe, share the podcast. There's fathers out there who need this information just like you did. Make sure that they get it. Remember, if our goal is to improve the world, we're trying to do that one father at a time, one household at a time, one community at a time. And the only way we can do that is if we share the message with other brothers. All right. So see you guys next time.